some actors decide to use professional hair and makeup artists before a shoot. What's your kind of take on that?
Okay, be very careful with it. Okay, a couple of things to just this is just food for thought. Okay, when you turn up at a casting, if you've had professional makeup on your main headshot, you have to be able to repeat that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yourself.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So if you can't repeat it, you're just going to look like a different person. So we do use hair and makeup, but we use it more kind of sparingly, and we use it for type changing and stuff, yeah? We use it to change type. It's really, really important that you look at makeup. Makeup artist is made up of two words. One of them is makeup, one of them is artist.
Yeah.
Okay? Concentrate more on the artist side, and you will have a proper makeup artist. And I would go as far as to say, can your makeup artist sketch a human face and make it look three-dimensional? Because if they can't sketch a human face and make it look three-dimensional, how on earth are they going to be able to do that with your face? And that's the difference between being an artist and being just somebody who puts a bit of slap on, for want of a better word. Yeah. Again, it can get... People acclimatise to a certain look that they're used to seeing on a daily basis. And the camera can totally change that. So, you know, makeup that people wear in real life, like say has highlighter on it and stuff like that, that's actually designed, and contouring as well. Highlights and contouring is designed to make them look three-dimensional when somebody like me isn't around. And it's also designed to make them glow in the sort of soft daylight, okay? When I'm around, I'm going to contour them with the light anyway, and I'm going to create highlights with the light. So what happens is you end up with like double contours, you end up with like really greasy, bright hot spots, and it just looks generally awful. So, yeah, makeup, be careful with it. You know, it has to be subtle. We call it, my makeup artist and I call it nude almost. It's nude makeup. It's very, very subtle. But again, just on your main headshot, just think about as an actor or actress, are going to have to do that yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can do it, you know. And what we've started doing now is we've started doing, say, the first main look with the makeup artist, giving them some guidance. And she gives them tips and everything, which so they get in a free makeup training session, so they get some nice tips, and then they can make sure that they can do that themselves on the first casting opportunity. Then we can get a bit more creative on the other looks to change type. Yeah. So makeup's good for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
What happens after the session is finished? How much work do you then have to do with the pictures?
Okay. After the session, I need to get proofs ready. Okay. The proofs need to be, I do explain on the email about the proofs that they're not the finished products, because at the end of the day I may have took 200 pictures and I can't edit 200 pictures or retouch 200 pictures. So I do explain to them like things like if the image is too high in the frame, too low in the frame, etc. You know, it'll be changed, the light will be changed, colour will be changed, etc., etc. So I send them it's like an electronic contact sheet.
Yeah.
It's all online. And what it allows them to do is it allows them to log in and build sets of their favourites. So what they can do is they can build multiple sets of different favours, so they can put 3 or 4 side by side to make sure that see what Spotlight's going to look like with them all side by side. They can use it to narrow down for a shortlist. I can then take that shortlist and give them that shortlist back to give to their agent, because always remember, agents don't want to look at 200 pictures.
Yes.
Okay. But on that, you don't want to really narrow your pictures down based on what you like, because what you like is not that relevant, because you never cast yourself.
Yeah.
So it's what other people think of you that's important when you're choosing your headshots. So getting lots of people involved. Yeah. So electronic contact sheet, they get that through, they get that Digislayer, they go through it, they can send it to their agent, they can narrow it down. I can even help them, I help them with it.
Yeah.
What sometimes I've done in the past is they picked a headshot and I've actually really zoomed in and cropped out just the eyes. And then I've cropped out another set of eyes, and I've sent them both sets of eyes, and I've said, which set of eyes would you pick? And they go, those ones. I go, well, they're not the set of eyes on your headshot, they're the dead ones on the left. Did I really pick that?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. But what I've done is I've taken every other distraction out of it for them and let them focus on the eyes, and then they can see what I mean, and then they realise that they haven't picked the right headshot.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So almost for you, actors should be going to the eyes first.
Oh, 100%.
Then see the rest of the picture.
Oh, well, 100%, because that's what you look at first, going back to what I said before,
Yeah,
you know, it's into the eyes straight away, you know, and the eyes got sparkle.
Yeah, brilliant. Great. So the headshots have been finalised. You've sent them back to the client. Everyone's happy. Who owns the photograph at that point?
Um, right, well, this is the thing. The photographer always owns a copyright. In the same way the creator always owns a copyright. Whatever you create, a videographer owns a copyright, yeah? The only time there's words called buyout, and now agencies sometimes do a buyout, and then they buy it, and it's up to the photographer then, because he's completely lost copyright. What's really, really important to mention here is the amount of websites that photographers I see advertising, and it's almost like they're selling their photography on how many images you get.
Yeah.
Right. How many images do you need? And also, how many images are going to get you a casting? You know, 50 images in your drawer or 50 images in an agent's drawer is just pointless, you know? And we're really heading towards this numbers game, and it isn't a numbers game. I mean, the old adage, a picture speaks 1,000 words. 1,000 pictures on a disc say nothing.
Yeah.
You know? So you need to get away from the numbers game. So it's about, you know, for us, it's about delivering quality headshots that are going to get you work, not overloading you with lots of headshots just to sell our service base to make you feel like you're getting some kind of great value for money because you've got all these pictures that are no use to you anyway.
Yeah.
So who owns a copyright? The creator always owns the copyright. So basically, whatever creative industry you're in, we own the copyright, basically. We actually license, you know, we don't do this formally anymore unless we're doing high-end shoots for agencies and stuff like that, but images are licensed, and images are licensed with a certain usage time on them. And in the days of, like, you know, in the great days when photography was, there wasn't millions of photographers and that, and it was more of an art form in the days of film.
Yeah.
That was an income stream, because you'd license an image to a company, they'd use it for 2 years, and then you could contact them again and use it again. So you could contact them again to put a small invoice in for the usage again, so that actually made you money. So we own the copyright, we license it to the actor. To be honest, they use the headshot for whatever they like. I do put, as you know, as long as they're using it for self-promotion. I have had headshots that I've got in magazines, and the magazine paid me, because obviously they understand that they understand that headshot was taken for self-promotion for the headshot for the actor. Use it in the publicity for the actor to promote his outside, you know, posted outside a theatre or whatever. As long as it's self-promotion, once it starts getting into commercial use and magazines are getting benefit from it, then they have to pay their share too.
Yeah. Fair play. So earlier you mentioned retouching and editing. How much retouching do you actually do on photographs after a session?
I try to do the absolute. The important thing is the actor has to look like them when they walk in the room.
Yeah.
Okay. What's also important is I can retouch at magazine standards, so I could completely change how an actor looked completely, but you lose the character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, people want to see that you've got pores, and people want to see that, you know, I mean, I suppose in a way, you know, you might be a bit dark under your eyes slightly. You know, a director might want that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For a particular part, and you might just be perfect for it. So it's balancing what we do. When I do it, though, I retouch at magazine level, magazine standards. So if you ever see the front cover of the Sunday Times, you can't actually, a lot of the time, you can't tell it's been done. I would use... So lots of photographers use skin filters, and you've probably seen them on Instagram, and they make you look like you've been shrink wrapped. You look like you're not human. You look like an android, don't you? That is, everybody can tell. You know, there's the pores have gone, etc., etc. What I do is what's called pore by pore retouching. So basically, if somebody has got dark under their eyes, what I will do is I will zoom in to pore level at each skin pore.
Yeah.
And I will lighten each skin pore separately at micro level.
Yeah.
And that way you cannot tell that I've done that work, because there's no... And I also use gradients of light as well, because light tends to gradiate from light to shadow. So it'd be dead obvious if all of a sudden the eyes appeared super light under there. Do you know what I mean? It has to be a subtle change. And we do that pore by pore retouching.
Each individual pore you
Each
would go
individual pore we'd go into. I mean, a magazine retouch can have a team of people working on it all day.
Yeah.
You know, that if you really want to go crazy with retouching, you can really go crazy with retouching. But subtle is best.
Yeah.
Maintaining the essence of the person is best. Treat retouching like, if I could send you an actor away on the holiday for 6 weeks, you would come back fresh-faced and fantastic, right? That's all I'll do in the retouch. I'll just take you on a digital holiday.
Lovely.
So, what made you become a photographer?
Wow. Now that's a question. What made me become a photographer? Well, midlife crisis.
Sure, sure, that's acceptable. Sure.
No, what made me become a photographer? Well, I suppose I've always been creative because I used to actually put raves on in the 90s. All right, that's actually where I learnt my lighting skills.
Yeah.
So I used to be a rave promoter. Many people might know me as Boulter the promoter. That was my nickname. And I used to have a nightclub called the Hippodrome. But leading up until the Hippodrome, I'd put on smaller raves. I'd put on warehouse parties. Now you put in a warehouse party and you've got a limited budget for lighting. So you start to understand, and obviously you want this lighting to kind of like, be fantastic and everything.
Yeah.
So you really start to study light. So that was the journey of light that I went on. I then started working at the Palace Theatre doing lighting and special effects. I actually worked on Tommy Steele with Singing in the Rain, which is like such an old show.
Yeah.
And I used to do lighting and special effects. Now I used to actually blow Tommy Steele up on a regular basis. If anyone had met him, that was actually a really good job. Yeah. So I learned. I've always had a passion for creativity.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had a little girl after I had my daughter, and my girlfriend had my daughter at the time, and I was a rave promoter, and I decided I needed to get sensible, so I went into the corporate world. Okay, I was in the corporate world for about 10 years to the age of about 35, and it was killing my soul completely. I'd be driving around in my car going, I'm not doing this when I'm 30, I'm not doing this when I'm 30. So I was always into photography. I was always into cameras, always into photography. And I did some night school when I was in the corporate world, and then I went to night school, and then to be honest, I actually walked out of £100,000 a year job, gave me company car back, and the boss said to me, "Why are you leaving? You earn so much money." And I said, "Because that just goes to show how much you don't know me, then, doesn't it? Because I'm not money driven. I find it extremely pointless, and what I'm doing is I'm comfort buying. And you know what one of my comfort buys was? A camera." That was a comfort buy.
Yeah.
And I've got this camera, what I mean by comfort buy is when you're doing a job and you're getting bonuses and things, and you spend your bonus to fulfill you because you feel like, you're wasting a lot of your day and stuff doing what you don't want to do. So you buy things to make yourself feel better. It justifies the job, yeah? So one of my purchases was a camera. I studied this camera inside out. I went to Barbados. I actually took some pictures of Barbados. One of them got picked up by Heineken, the brewery, and they bought it off me to open their brewery tour in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I decided at that point then I maybe have a talent for this. Yeah. I then went on to college and studied photography. But even while I was at college, I was setting up a website. I was shooting every day. I was doing everything. I actually can roller skate and ice skate quite well. So when I had my midlife and I went back to college to reinvent myself, I was actually an ice marshal on the ice rinks. Now what that is, that's like a doorman on ice, right? So basically my job was to skate around and if someone had fallen, if a lady had fallen, I'd pick them up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So at the time it was quite interesting because all my friends said, "So what are you doing now?" I said, "Oh, I just pick up women all day."
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
So that was how I earned my living when I went back to college. So I threw all the corporate world away, I threw everything away and really threw myself into photography. And that was 16 years ago.
Fair enough,
Still
yeah.
here now.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a headshot photographer?
Forget cameras. I know that's a big statement.
Yeah.
I know that's a massive statement, but forget cameras. Or reframe your mind, because when you think about it, what I concluded early on is it isn't about cameras, because the old masters didn't have anywhere near the quality of camera that we've got today, and they were still producing fantastic images. So going on a journey of studying cameras, which a lot of people do, is not a good journey to go on.
Yeah.
Go on a journey of studying light. It will take a lot longer, because it will take you a while to be able to see the light and see what it's doing and understand the light. But photography, the word, is a Greek word that actually means painting with light. Nobody even mentions camera on it.
Yeah.
So a photographer is a light painter. So you study light, you study what it does, you study how it works on the human face, you study human anatomy, you study perspective, how perspective changes features, changes shape, you study light, shadow, and then eventually you should be able to paint the human face with light in any way you like. And that's the journey. But be under no illusion that journey is a longer journey, a learning curve than learning about cameras. That's quite straightforward, but light is a big journey.
Yeah.
Love it, study it, chase it, be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I used to walk around the street staring at people in the street. Like, honestly, I'd be in pubs looking at people, looking at the colour of the light, looking at the shadows on the face, looking at the texture on the face, just studying it. I used to read books about it. I used to read the old masters' books, and they'd say like these things about this picture, and I'd be like, I can't see it. I see it. And my brain wasn't shaped correctly because I couldn't see it. And to see like an artist either takes a load of LSD or a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, and you can study, you can train the brain and train the eyes to see in seeing in 3D, seeing light, seeing how it affects things. And that is a long journey, but do that journey and you will always know what you're doing forever. That'll, you know, it makes you consciously competent, not unconsciously competent. You see, lots of people can take hundreds of pictures and get a decent result out of one or two of them, but being consciously competent is about to be able to do that all the time and repeat that all the time.
Great. I guess following on from that, if there was a piece of kit for a starting photographer to get, what would it be?
Light.
Buy light.
I'm only joking. Well, obviously they're going to need a camera.
Of course.
But again, you know, you can really push a camera if you know what you're doing with light. I mean, some of the results, I could show you iPhone pictures that people think have been taken like landscapes, you know. Yeah. If you understand light and you work, you can get the results out of a camera. You know, a camera is, you know, I suppose if you think about it, it's a study of light. So the camera is just a way to manipulate light. Yeah. So obviously you need a camera, but don't focus too much on camera. Just study light.
Sure.
Study how it affects people and stuff. Yeah.
Fair play. What are some common mistakes that actors make when selecting a headshot?
That mistake, they shouldn't be selecting the headshot.
Okay.
Because they don't cast themselves, do they?
Yeah.
And what you see in yourself, who somebody else might not see. So, you know, you treat your opinion of you very carefully. Because as I say, you don't cast yourself. And some people, I mean, you know, in this world of the selfies, some people have all sorts of hang-ups and things. Now, those hang-ups may be your actual, what people want to cast you about. You know what I mean? You might have a hang-up about your nose or a feature. And that might be your most castable feature. Yeah, so don't look at yourself. So get your agent involved, I'd say don't get your college tutor involved. They're still living in the black and white days.
Sure.
I actually do the...
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Great, well, we're kind of wrapping up here. So how can actors get in touch with you and book a session with you?
They can Google, I mean, you can easily Google Neilson Reeves. You see my big cheesy grin all over Google, you know, it's like my big cheesy face everywhere. They can do that. They can Google Neilson Reeves. They can call me, my website is www.neilson, Neilson, Reeves, Reeves.co.uk. Or they can ring me. I love speaking to people. I adore speaking to people. I'm middle-aged, you know what I mean? Ring me, I love it. You know, I want to talk to you, it's great. We'll have spoken for half an hour before we've even talked about headshots. I love speaking to people, so ring me. Absolutely. Don't be shy, you know, even if you're a young person who's used to emailing, ring me. It'd be great. It gets good practice for you as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And one last question before we finish off today. If there was one actor or actress in the world that you could do a session with right now, who would it be?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah? Why?
Wow. Why not? Right, why? I just kind of like the humble, understated side of him. I like that. I mean, I've done a great. I mean, one of my favourite actors is Ian Pullerton Davis. Ian Pullerton Davis actually came to my 50th birthday with that friend. Really? So yeah, I mean, like lots of actors end up my friends. You know what I mean? It's amazing how many I've got as friends. And Ian Pullerton Davis is absolutely fantastic. I mean, we did a session in here one day, 6 in the evening. We had beer. We're great. We had some fun. You know what I mean? We did some crazy outtakes and things like that. But yeah, I'd love to, and I'd love to Daniel Day-Lewis because he's again like me. He's not money driven. He kind of goes a film and then he'll go off and be a stonemason in Italy or something and that. And I think that's great because one of the biggest downfalls of all humans and all actors is ego. Yeah. All the philosophers say it. Jesus used to say pride. Buddha says ego. They all say the same thing. It's man's downfall. And if you can keep that in check and remain a good human, remain enthusiastic and fun and treat everybody like you've just met them for the first time, I think you're away. Great. Thank you very much, Colin. You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure. Nice one. Nice one. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Colin Boulter and this has been my insight.